Hurry up and wait. Watchwords for our exasperating times. But there's another phrase to remember. Patience is a virtue, as Barry Petersen learned when he set out to report our cover story in those pre-pandemic days of not so very long ago.
You've seen the pictures. Wherever you vote this year, you know there's a good chance you need to be ready to wait and wait and wait.
We've been here 8 hours and 30 minutes.
At the polls, at the grocery store, in traffic, we Americans are weary of waiting. But consider this, even before the pandemic, we spent an estimated 2 years of our lives waiting in lines.
Open up! Open up!
And with COVID cases on the rise again, it's fair to say many of us just can't wait for things to get back to normal. But it turns out impatience may be almost as dangerous as the virus itself. People are just so anxious to return to what used to be. It seems a dangerous trend.
You know, there was an interesting study where they gave people the choice to sit alone and get bored or give themselves painful electric shock. And about 70% men chose to give themselves painful electric shocks versus sit alone and get bored. So people don't like to get bored. People do not like to be controlled. People do not like uncertainty.
But that's only the half of it. The other half is our genes. Dr. Ahmed Sood founded a department that researches impatience at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. Before the pandemic, he told us why.
We're designed to be impatient. So when little babies are born, they don't just wait for you to clean their diapers, they cry. And when was the last time you really preferred a slow elevator? Or you loved, slow internet connection?
It turns out how we handle ourselves in these uncertain times comes at a price.
The opposite of patience is not impatience. The opposite of patience is anxious, ill, injured, addicted, lonely, and dead.
It literally can kill you.
It can. An episode of explosive anger, stress, or impatience can increase your risk of heart attack and sudden death by 2 to 8-fold for the next few hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
If that's not alarming enough, Dr. Sood says impatience can even have a long-term effect on your DNA.
If we were to take your blood sample and measure your telomeres, which are at the end of chromosomes, the shorter they are, the smaller they are, the older you are. And people who are impatient have shorter telomeres.
So they're actually making themselves older by being impatient.
Yeah, some people say the only thing that gets faster with impatience is aging.
And impatience has an evil twin brother, stress.
Try to stay as relaxed as possible.
I took the Mayo Clinic stress test, designed to simulate the stress of everyday life.
Go ahead and start gripping.
You must do things like keep squeezing a grip.
Squeeze a little more.
Or endure 3 minutes keeping a hand in ice-cubed, freezing water. Really and truly, that already hurts.
30 seconds left.
The results, dramatically higher blood pressure and changes to the heartbeat. So what was the reaction to the ice water test? The test was overseen by Dr. Michael Joyner.
Big rise in blood pressure.
What I'm reminded of is like being on the phone, trying to get customer service, where you feel like you're endlessly waiting. Can that have the same effect on your body?
Absolutely, absolutely. People have a very hard time understanding what they do and don't have control over.
It can feel like the world is out of control these days, but we do have control over ourselves.
If you choose to be patient, you're helping yourself, you're living longer and happier, and you're helping your loved ones. Being patient is a choice.
Dr. Sood says the other word that will help us through the pandemic is resilience, and that will fire up your body.
You do not have any bullets, you do not have any swords, you can't fist fight with this virus. You can empower your billions of immune cells to fight with this virus, and when you're resilient, your immune cells are stronger in waging that war.
And boosting your resilience can be a walk in the park, literally.
There's so many elements of nature that we respond to as humans.
Florence Williams traveled the world, writing about how nature can help us master impatience and make us healthier.
The science is pretty clear on this. Even after just 15 minutes of walking in a green space or a park, our blood pressure drops a little bit, our heart rate slows down, and even our stress hormones like cortisol lower.
It's got to be all good, right?
It boosts our moods very dramatically.
No surprise, the frustration of lockdowns quickly gave way to people flooding the outdoors when they could and feeling better for it. And some take it to a new level of calm, doing something the Japanese invented called forest bathing, basically hiking in slow motion.
The benefit of slowing down is that your life isn't passing you by.
Jane West is a psychologist who leads forest bathing sessions in the Colorado Rockies.
I think being in a forest, surrounded by green and wonderful smells, allows us to be lost in this moment, as if nothing else exists. And I know that's so hard to find these days, but it is doable, it's reachable. And I do this because it gives me those moments.
The pandemic won't end anytime soon, but doctors soon insist we can turn our impatience to good use if we just want to. Is there an opportunity to make ourselves better by training ourselves about patience?
Absolutely. There is tremendous opportunity during this pandemic to rise because of it.
That ability to rise above may be sorely tested, since, as we've heard, ballot counting could go on for days after November 3rd. For Americans, for America, what might be the ultimate test?